Hi everyone, and I am very pleased to see you this week again. And today we will speak about the BIM coordination matrix. And why we are speaking about this BIM coordination matrix, it's because technically speaking, whatever we are, the project owner, the contractor, the designer, the problem related to the clash is recurring and is costing a huge money. It's costing a huge money for the employer, basically because when we do have to when the contractor has to redo and over again the job on the field because it's clashing, uh, he's losing money and time. And it's the same approach for the contractor who's losing credibility and efficiency on the field. And for the designer, obviously, when there is a clash in the design, he's responsible. He has to redo his design and over again until he's reaching the level of accuracy and quality expected by the project. So all these processes are recurring, generating revisions and over processing and overdoing and overrunning budget. So this very burning topic is one big preoccupation of the BIM managers. And for a BIM manager, basically there is several objectives to be filled during the delivery of the project. The first one is basically to explain his strategy to the overall stakeholders of the project. The second one is basically also to drive the strategy according to what he presented. So he usually is presenting this strategy within a BIM execution plan, and then he's addressing this strategy to the supply chain and tries to make the supply chain complying with the requirements or the specification is set up in his BIM execution plan. And today the result is globally very poor. Why? Because first of all, you will see only a few BIM execution plans containing a coordination matrix properly defined and matching the expectations of the owner. And second, because it remains paper. I mean, when you are delivering a BIM execution plan, you are delivering a piece of document. This document is a quality document, but you need then to transport this document into a technical and immediately usable file that will enable the supply chain to make the control according to what you specified previously. And to solve this issue, yeah, you have several options. You can do each step hand by you can do each step by hand, and as you have many revisions, you will have many recurring cycles of delivering first the disciplines, then the coordination matrix, then the BIM execution plan, then the information for the supply chain. And each time you are revising one of these documents, one of these steps, you have to spend a couple of days, 1 to 2 weeks of work to set up all this information in place and make it available for the supply chain. Just an example, if you consider you do have 10 disciplines on the project, you basically have 10 by 10 divided by 2, which means 50 combination of coordination clashes to be considered. So on project, usually you go for 20, 30, 40 different disciplines and sub-disciplines. And for each one of them, if you are combining and calculating, I take another example, 30 disciplines, okay? 30 disciplines means 900 divided by 2, 450 clashes to be tested, sorted properly and documented for the supply chain. So this effort of preparing the BIM execution plan information and driving this information to the supply chain is really time consuming. And in this perspective, I decided to create my own software, a very small and simple approach to reduce this time to a couple of minutes. And this is exactly what I want to share with you today. So just let's come back on the basics. So to create your coordination matrix and document it, you need to have several information or several input in your process. First of all, you need to have a list of disciplines. And we all know that this list of disciplines is changing several times during the project ramp up. It's completely normal. But on the other hand, you need to be able to be reactive and proactive. If this list of disciplines or this tree view of disciplines is changing, you need to adapt automatically your BIM execution plan and your coordination matrix information. And you also need to work on the clash criticality levels, and both of them are supporting you to generate the clash matrix. Then when you generate this clash matrix or this source of information, you need to produce a BIM execution plan on one hand for upstream for the project stakeholders and the project owner, and usually you have also to deliver a BIM model, or I would say some information for operating the BIM model for your supply chain. And this way you can reconcile speaking with upstream and downstream. And obviously all of this needs to be consistent. So if what you write in your BIM execution plan is not reflected in the instructions you are sending to your supply chain, you will lose your time and effort for nothing. To meet this statement, basically we've been developing a database structure. This database structure is indicating or connecting the information together. First of all, the discipline with the clash test and the criticality level. So all of this information is connected, and when you launch your project, so here, for instance, I will take the example of a project delivered in South or Central America. You reach your interface, and you will be able first to set up your criticality levels. Here, in that case, I set up 4 levels. The lowest one, which is without object, or not to be considered. The second one, which is low level, average level, and high level of criticality, which means the clash that are not acceptable. I also entered here the tree view of my disciplines, which is pretty simple for this project, but at least 20 disciplines, which means 400 divided by 200 clash tests to be operated and documented. So we need here to define the tree view of disciplines, and probably for people working with systems, a tree view of systems and subsystems. From this, I can generate in a couple of seconds the clash matrix, and this clash matrix is dynamic. So what I mean by dynamic is first that you can see the tree view. So the entries on the rows and columns are reflecting my disciplines, and the tree view is completely reflected here, the tree view of my disciplines. If I need to modify one label, one code, I can regenerate this diagram very shortly in a couple of seconds. This diagram is also dynamic because as I am moving my mouse over, I can see that which disciplines I am clash testing. So for my facade against my my firefighting system, I do have an average level test, and facade against drainage, a hard test, and facade against geotechnical. There is no reason to test these two. Okay, so here I am defining my my clash sets and test, and I am able to revise, modify in real time whatever my project is requesting me to modify. And from this, once again, by a simple click, I can generate an XML file for Navisworks. So first of all, as soon as I generated this matrix, I can document my BIM execution plan by doing a right click and saving this diagram as a picture in my working folder here, and then use it, for instance here with Paint, to document my BIM execution plan. Okay, so I'm sure the list of disciplines used here are reflecting the disciplines that are in my tables. I'm sure that this diagram is completely reflecting my strategy all the time. And then I come back to my software and I will generate an XML file for Navisworks. So this XML file for Navisworks is specifically formatted to fulfill the standards of Navisworks. What does it mean? It means that, for instance, here we do have almost 150 cases or clashes to be handled. And by a simple click, I will document this information for Navisworks. I will store the file in my test folder. Okay, I will indicate the name of the file. And as the structure of the information expected by Navisworks is codified and standardized, I am checking what I am generating against, and I prepared some kind of test to make sure that the file I will generate is conform to the expectations of Navis. And on the other hand, supporting my clash test and reporting activities by adopting a unique ID for each one of the clash tests, and a dedicated naming which contains the criticality level and each one of the disciplines that are clash tested each others. Here you can see that generating such kind of setting or reports, it's almost 3,000 lines of code, or 3,000, or I would say 150 clash tests to be set up in Navisworks. In global, it represents a couple of working days of efforts for BIM Manager to be delivered, and this can be done in a couple of minutes. What I will do, I will show you also the XML generated by the software. So here is the XML generated, and you can find first all the clash tests here, and all the clash sets below. So the structure of information is completely consistent and efficient. So by doing this, I can meet my objectives and my goals, which were, first of all, to document my BIM execution plan according to my delivery strategy, to instruct my supply chain with a file that will allow them to work consistently with my BIM execution plan, and also to enable them to easily make the clash test of their scope against my requirements. And on the other hand, I am keeping the flexibility to modify, update this information easily each time the project requires this to be updated, without spending 2 or 3 weeks in delivering documentation for this. This is what I wanted to share with you. I believe you enjoyed this presentation. If you need to have access to the source code, just ping me and I will share it with you, definitely. And for the rest, I wish you a very good time. I will show you very easily how it looks like it looks like when it is documented. So if we go to a BIM execution plan, for instance this one, you can see that it's a very heavy document. It's almost 100 pages document. We define in the first time here in this document the list of disciplines. And then we go to the section dedicated to the quality and the 3D coordination, where we are explaining the process here, and we are then detailing the way we will deliver this 3D coordination by explaining each one of the critical level and the matrix corresponding to the clash matrix corresponding to my strategy. So this is taking part of this BIM execution plan and really making quite faster the content I need to deliver to my customer and my project. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a very good week. Next time we will go through another topic that will be how to consistently document your BIM execution plan for the geometrical level of details and the management of the attributes, and communicate or instruct your supply chain on this topic. Have a good week. See you soon. Cheers.